Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. Tonight, as always, we are recapping the week's nerdy news from Westeros to the Nostromo and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
All the consonants you could try and throw into a single intro. Like that seems like Westeros, Nostromo. That's some. You got some very
vowel heavy words there.
Yeah. So, no, just chilling. I did just get back. I meant to post on our socials, but did not. Did just get back from watching Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, not Frozen Ocean.
Not Frozen Ocean.
If you guys cut the pre-roll, which you hypothetically can in moving forward, I believe, maybe
That's true.
That may be, you know what? If you're listening to this, check out patreon.com/the Multiverse Report, and you may be able to check out our pre-roll. I can't remember if we put that as one of our things, but I know we did put some B-roll stuff, and
I think we did.
You know,
I have no idea how to do that. I mean, that's all on your
that's
plate,
all me.
Buddy. I don't know how that becomes available, but if you want to hear me and Steve just chatting about our weekends and sometimes going on pretty lengthy tangents that we should save for the podcast, then you can listen to our pre-roll, B-roll.
And also, if you really,
the same thing?
Yeah, sure, why not? If you really want to, there's all sorts of options on there as far as what you can do to help support us and help us cover some of our hosting costs on this end and keep this thing moving smoothly and coming to you.
Yeah. You want to hear Steve and I record a film commentary that you can watch along with some movie? You can sign up for that, and we'll do that. We'll let you pick the movie within reason.
Yeah, it has to be somewhat in the genre, but yeah, for the most part, we'll let you.
Also something that we're like willing to watch. And that's like a pretty wide, I can imagine that's a pretty covers a pretty wide breadth of films, but you know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there.
Within reason. We know what we're talking about. So yeah, this podcast is sponsored by Funky Town Comics in Camillus, New York, and that's all the business we got. If you missed it in your feeds, Steve dropped his interview with Jeff Watkins of Funky Town Comics, live interview from Syracuse Collectors Con. That is out right now. There's also a video on our YouTube and on our Instagram of me unboxing one of my souvenirs from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Star Wars, Steve, I didn't run this by you, but I just wanted to let all of our listeners know, and you know that we do have a special guest for this episode. Please, Multiverse Report watchers and listeners, please welcome the one, the only, Babu Frick to the show. Babu Frick's here, everybody.
Wow, that actually came through the mic way better than I expected it to.
Well, yeah, he's right here. He's talking. Yeah. Well, I know. Are you okay? Is there anything you want to say to the people watching and listening? Yep, you're Babu Frick. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you. Uh-oh. Is this not what you signed up for? Oh, okay. All right then. There we go. We're back to hey. We're back to hey. Maybe put your visor down. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Now you're working. Now you're working on a droid. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so if anyone isn't watching the video cut of this, Mike busted out an awesome little animatronic Babu Frick that
animatronic. It's the real guy. It's really Babu Frick.
Well, the motors in his head are really cooking that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the mechanism that turns his head and moves his mouth when he talks are almost louder than or you know what? Not almost, louder.
Oh yeah, when you're in person. They came across slightly softer on the mic. But
yeah, cool, because I was holding his speaker closer to the microphone than I was holding his actual face. So yeah, I own a Babu Frick now. The Babu Frick.
That you do.
My pet. He lives in my house and fixes all my droids anytime I need them.
I mean, you do technically have a droid.
That's also true.
Yeah,
I do.
And yeah, because why not? We
Yeah.
actually busted out BB-8 today because for anyone who's new to the podcast, when we went to Galaxy's Edge, my son had the opportunity to build any droid he wanted and
Yeah.
literally picked out every piece verbatim
And
from BB-8.
exact replica of
Yes.
BB-8.
And then proceeded, when I asked him his name, said, like there was any question, it's BB-8. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
duh.
cool.
I
Yeah.
own BB-8 now.
Now BB-8 is our droid. So Mike has an Enzelin, and I have a BB-8. So
Yeah. And I also have a BB unit droid that my son built, but he's red and blue.
there you go.
Anyway, speaking of
You know what else is red and blue?
what?
A Frozen Ghostbusters logo.
Ah, yes. Red, white, and blue. Very patriotic, this Ghostbusters movie is what I hear. So yeah, we're gonna start with some movie thoughts. Steve and his family saw the new Ghostbusters movie, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, a film I have heard mixed to positive things about.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to hear about it because you, Steve, you have not seen Ghostbusters Afterlife.
I
Is
have
that
not.
correct?
That is correct.
Which this Frozen Empire is a direct sequel to that movie. Obviously, it's a sequel to all the movies in the Ghostbusters franchise, but specifically to Afterlife. So I am curious to hear what you thought of this movie. Steve, take it away.
So Frozen Empire, having not seen the other reboot and, understanding the gist of it from the cultural zeitgeist,
Sure.
went into this with mixed to no aspersions as to what I was going to go watch. Which, as we've talked about ad nauseum on the podcast, my new favorite way to go into a movie, like not expecting anything.
Oh, yeah.
And coming out, pleasantly surprised, especially in this case.
Good.
We went in and movie starts up and you're, thrown right into the new cast. Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, absolutely,
Yep.
he's not as forward facing as I think he was in the first movie, but he fits quite well into that ensemble cast with Paul Rudd and the two Spanglers, who I don't know the name of the actors.
Carrie Coons, I think, is the mom.
Yep, that sounds right.
I'm blanking on the younger girl, but she's my favorite part of Afterlife. I love her.
Guess what? She's front and center.
Oh, good. Good.
Very Spangler centric movie. Which, going through the trials and travails of what I've heard from the first one makes sense. It overall hit a bunch of nostalgia vibes. The OG cast does, make an appearance.
Sure.
Of course they're going to. I think it's no secret that Slimer is back.
True.
And
McKenna Grace is her name.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah.
But overall, felt like it hit all the right notes without being too nostalgia. I do know the family that we went with as well. Their son is very Ghostbusters centric.
Yeah.
So they've seen a bunch of them recently, and they didn't think it was too over the top as far as, hitting those notes and like needing to call it in. My wife and I both agreed it was kind of the right amount of interspersed. Like the OG cast wasn't. There was no like Deus Ex Machina where they're coming in to save the day and anything like that. It was very much like Venkman was there when the comedic relief was needed. It fit their characters, it fit where they would be, and it fit where they were portrayed to be in this movie.
Okay.
So
that's cool. That sounds more like what I kind of wanted Afterlife to be. Like, I liked Afterlife, but I've said before on this podcast that it steals plot devices, like exact plot devices from the first Ghostbusters movie in a way that I was just like, wow, I've seen this before. And yeah, maybe it was a long time ago. And, it's like
kind of like Force Awakens-y.
Yeah, that's the comparison I make all the time. Like, there's people that think Force Awakens is a direct remake of Star Wars. I see that argument, but I really see it with Afterlife and the original Ghostbusters movie, like more so than Force Awakens.
Yep.
I saw somebody online say that Frozen Empire felt more like the real Ghostbusters cartoon from the 80s than it did a movie. Would you say
It-
that that's accurate in any way?
If the OG Ghostbusters movie and the cartoon had a child, this was it.
Okay. Okay.
Like, it wasn't. There were points where I was like, that feels very OG Ghostbusters, and then there were other points where it felt cartoony in that same vein. So I think
Yeah.
they did. I feel like they hit that balance pretty well.
All right, cool.
Which I think, I mean, in my brain, I'm not adverse to that being the new feel for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
If you're going to redefine it and have the longevity,
Mhm.
it was definitely also, from what I can gather, it was a little more dark, a little grittier than the or like darker overtones than the original new one. Should I- the Afterlife.
Yeah.
So it definitely it was towing the line. Like, there were moments where my son was very on the edge of frightened.
Okay.
A lot of tension, which I
Yeah.
know we've talked about on the pod numerous times, that
Yeah.
6 and 7-year-olds do not deal with tension well.
Yeah.
The jump
Do-
scares, fine. He was fine
Oh,
with
really?
all those.
Oh, wow.
It's the tension that really gets him.
Yeah. Is this your son's first Ghostbusters movie? Has
Yes,
he
it
seen
was.
any other?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Wow. Did he have any problem knowing or not caring who people were? Or
He's 6. He
he was
didn't
just
care.
like, whatever.
It
Okay,
was
yeah.
all fine.
I get it. They're trapping ghosts. Some of
Right.
them are just way older. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Cool. All right. I still haven't seen that. I still haven't seen Dune Part 2. I am due for a few trips to the movies, I think, in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I haven't seen Dune either, so whenever
Killing me.
at some point we do need to see that. Maybe you and
Yeah.
I can figure something out there.
Maybe. And maybe if we do go to the movies, we'll see some trailers.
Maybe we will, but we sure as
Ma-
hell did this week.
We sure as hell did, because pretty much, folks, the only thing we have to talk about tonight are trailers. Trailers for films, trailers for TV shows, trailers for a video game. And, we'll do comic reviews and everything like that. But all of our main stories outside of whether or not Steve liked the new Ghostbusters movie are trailer related. So,
Not all of them. I think at
not
some
all
point
of
we're
them.
going to stick to the comic tie-ins and discuss X-Men 97 as well.
Oh, yeah. We'll do that too. But that's just kind of an off-cuff conversation. I didn't count that as like a general story because it's more just opinion-based. But anyway, yes, you are correct, Steve. We will be talking about X-Men 97 before we do comic stuff. But jumping into some trailer palooza, as I have it written on the rundown. The first one I think that we saw this week, and one that I was most excited about, well, that I thought was most excited about until we got one that I wasn't expecting to get. Star Wars:
I'm curious.
The Acolyte.
I'm curious about that statement though.
Oh baby. Star Wars: The Acolyte, a new Star Wars television show for Disney Plus that we've been talking about or hearing about for a while. We got the first trailer for it. No specific release date still, other than June 2024, which is what we had heard. No date specifically. But this was our first look at this show that we still don't know a ton about, other than like former Padawan has to reunite with her former master and uncover a series of crimes that ends up being a bigger deal than they expect. Takes place over 100 years before the Phantom Menace, so it's the earliest live action Star Wars thing that we will be seeing. And it has a really great cast, including Amanda Sternberg, Carrie-Anne Moss, Daphne Keane, bunch of great people. And we saw them all in this trailer. What did we think of this trailer, Steve? What did you think?
I don't want to say completely blown away. I was appropriately blown away.
Yeah, same.
Like, it was the level that I was expecting and wanted to see from what this was described as. It was the standard Star Wars trailer where we didn't find out hardly anything.
Yeah, that's how I describe it. It's a classic Star Wars trailer that shows you a lot of great visuals and hooks you and makes you excited, but doesn't really tell you anything about the plot. It gives you things so you're able to guess about the plot, but doesn't really tell you what's going to happen, which the movies are always great with doing trailers like that. Like, I love a Star Wars trailer because it never gives away the entire story of a movie or a show, and this was in that same vein for me. Looks like we got I feel like a lot of the trailer was seemingly a fight between who I'm guessing is Amanda Sternberg.
Yep.
And Carrie Ann Moss as a badass Jedi Master. And from the trailer, this is a prediction I have about the show. From the trailer, from the description of the show, I think that this fight scene is maybe an opening fight scene or first episode fight scene, and I think Carrie Ann Moss is going to be killed.
That wouldn't surprise me.
First episode of the show, and that her death is going to be the death that
was
like
prophesied in everything that said that we had heard prior about the Acolyte, that it was based upon some happening, or what was it, a wayward apprentice, basically a death causing a rift. And
I think that her death is going to cause like the events of the show. The catalyst, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah. Because later someone in the trailer says somebody's killing Jedi.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I bet Carrie Ann Moss was like, yeah, I'll do one episode of a Star Wars thing. Or,
right.
We can afford Carrie Ann Moss for one episode. Let's get her in.
Yeah. You want me to do a killer fight scene for one episode? Sure. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, sure. We saw yellow lightsabers.
Mhm.
Awesome. Loved it. Yeah. We saw younglings being trained in the ways of the Force, which I liked as well. A cool ship crash. I don't know, a bunch of cool stuff in this trailer.
The opening was what's been known to us now as Jedi Master Soul, who's played by Lee Jung Jae from Squid Game, which I still haven't seen, but
same.
Whatever. That was the cultural it thing, and then it just seems to have disappeared. So cool.
Yeah.
Either way, he's coming out of this in training these younglings. Awesome to see. Did like to see there was they stopped, one of the shots was on a Tarson, the furry youngling. I was like, that's just cool to see a young version of that that species. Mm-hmm. So we get that. We get him being kind of that regal overtones, the one talking through the narrating the plot.
Didn't get much of him in the rest of the trailer,
right.
Although I believe he's going to be a main character.
Yeah,
the rest of the trailer focused on Amanda Sternberg and the other Jedi and stuff, and Carrie Ann Moss. But he, I think, is going to be like a lead of the show.
Yeah, it seems to be. And so Sternberg is playing May, and that's all we know.
Yep.
Which I would assume is either the titular Acolyte or some fallen Jedi of some order. There was a Keldor in the shot, which is what Plo Koon was in one of the shots, or some other alien that has a weird ass brain looking thing on the back of their head. I don't know. It sure looked like a Keldor to me.
Yeah.
We did see Daphne Keane, who was unrecognizable until I put two and two together. I don't know what species she's supposed to be, but it looks awesome, whatever it is.
I don't know the name of the species, but she is a half human, half whatever this species is, and it's the species of one of the dancers in the Jedi Rocks portion of Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
In Jabba's palace, she's got like bright red hair and like kind of like spotty.
Yeah, I know who you're talking.
Like tall,
I have no idea
like,
what the what the
I read it online and I don't remember the name of the species, but like supposedly half and half.
And we did finally get the name for Eunice Swatomo's Wookiee Jedi, which I am very disappointed it's not Briaga, who was a main character for anyone who's read any of the High Republic stuff, very much so in the early High Republic era. It is Kelnacca.
Okay.
Kelnacca.
We got one cool shot of that of Kelnacca.
Yep.
And he was awesome looking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So. Looked like an old wise Wookiee, like some gray hair. I don't know. It was great. Looked really good. Also read that this is maybe the first. No, not because Andor didn't either. But apparently, similar to Andor, this was shot either on location or in practically built sets, and the volume was not used to make this show.
Oh,
being the big screen that they stand inside to do shots of Mandalorian and stuff like that. Like, they all shot it on sets and stuff. I think it's cool.
All the CG heavy stuff.
Yeah.
There were also Jodie Turner-Smith plays that They said, I want to say they said it was like a coven of witches. Plays the leader of that.
Okay.
In the shots that they had kind of the face paint and stuff going on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm curious where that's going to be. Who knows?
Yeah, where's that gonna go?
Maybe tied into, you know, if it's a Force Witch, maybe tied into Night Sisters or Dathomiri or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we see another lightsaber.
We do see a red saber. Yeah.
So
no word on who that could possibly be. I mean, rumors online are saying it's going to be Darth Plagueis the Wise. I feel like that might be too far in the past.
I feel like it's
for even somebody that can extend life. I don't know.
It's weird. It's one of those where in the prequels we had, was it Ki-Adi-Mundi said the Sith have been gone for a millennium?
Right. Yeah.
And like, it's got to not be a Sith, or just one of the Jedi Masters on the council was an idiot, which I guess could be true too. But
I think we know that a few of the Jedi Masters on the council were idiots. I think we know that by now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe whatever happens in this show is like kept under wraps in a way where it doesn't get out. Maybe it is a Sith, but no, like the public at large doesn't find out about it. So by the time 100 years later, Jedi don't know that there was a
Sith I mean, if that's the case,
outbreak.
Who's dying? Because
yeah.
If anyone's listening to this and didn't see the poster they released as well, the poster was a.
Oh, we talked about that last week.
Did
the
we?
Blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember whether we had touched on that, but in an age of light, a darkness rises. Like, this is I have a feeling, and I hope I'm right, that this isn't going to be happy-go-lucky Star Wars. This is going to be.
Doesn't seem like it will be. Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be and/or gritty, but I don't think it's going to. I don't think everybody's making out of this one alive.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, The Acolyte, June 2024. Obviously, we'll be talking about it until it comes out, and then we'll be talking about it more when we're watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of something that at least one of us will watch, can't guarantee both of us will watch this, but we got not one, but two trailers. I thought this was a cool gimmick. Two trailers for House of the Dragon, the second season of the HBO series, which is a prequel to Game of Thrones. House of the Dragon will debut June 16th, same month as The Acolyte. Now, there was what they called a green trailer and a black trailer released. And depending on which side of the Targaryen family that you ally with or are rooting for or whatever, you could watch the green trailer that kind of summarizes what's going on in one camp and why they're mad at the other side. And then the black trailer is the other side and why they're mad at the first side. So like it was pretty cool that you got two different trailers from two different perspectives, kind of.
Yeah.
And they were both very different. I expected, when I watched one, I expected just a lot of recycled shots just with like maybe different narration, but no, they were completely different trailers, completely different.
Yeah, there was only like
really cool.
Yeah, there might have been like one or two shared shots and that's it.
Yeah, it'd be like if they, when they made Batman versus Superman, if they did like a Superman centric trailer and a Batman centric trailer, like stuff like that. It was super cool.
Yeah, I think the only things I noticed between the two were like one or two of the dragon shots because they were probably the ones that were finished in CGI.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I've said before on this podcast, I thought House of the Dragon season 1 was okay. I don't know that I have enough interest to watch season 2 of House of the Dragon. We'll certainly report on it and talk about it. I gotta say, these trailers looked great and they looked like a really good show. And it's not that I think it looks bad. It's just that I don't know if I have enough interest to devote the time to watching the series. So if anything, these trailers made me a little bit more likely to watch season 2 because they were so impressive. And again, I hear the show's really good. It's just something that's not for me. I don't know. But Steve, as somebody that is in the bag for watching House of the Dragon season 2, what did you think of these trailers?
Now, it's funny you say that because I'm probably only in the bag for watching House of the Dragon season 2 because my wife is going to want to watch it.
Really?
Yeah. Season 1, similar to you, I thought it was good, but like it's fine. Like there wasn't anything that screamed to me, "Oh yeah, I need to continue watching this."
Right.
Until I
Yeah.
saw Matt Smith's smug grin. You're just like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, this is actually probably going to be good." But
Yeah.
I mean the shifting perspectives in the trailers was awesome. The fact that the green trailer is Allison narrating and setting up what's going on with her son and why.
Yeah.
There's a point where she's like, you don't understand how much was shed for you to be sitting on that throne when he's being a petulant child about something, doing his best Joffrey or whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
He's
Definitely
got a lot
shades
of
Joffrey.
Yeah, a lot of Joffrey vibes. But
Yeah.
he but yeah, that that perspective of it, and then the other trailer, and it's her talking to Otto, like, is it Otto, her dad?
I think so.
Or it's played
Name
by
sounds familiar.
Risa Fons. Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's
his
right.
name.
But there's the back and forth of like, we're in this and whatnot, and
Yeah.
it just seems like it'll be. They're doing a very good job of using the trailer to shape the desire to watch it.
Right.
Because I had pretty well fallen off the wagon for a bit, and then it's like, oh, okay, you see something like this, you're like, yeah, I guess I probably will at least give it a shot.
Yeah, because these trailers to me made season 2 look like a more interesting show than season 1 was to me.
Yes.
And I don't know, maybe that they just knew that maybe just season 1 was just like, okay, we got to put these pieces in place before we can make a really banging season 2. I don't know. I know season 1 has a lot of big fans, so I can't say that was definitely the plot. I'm sure I don't think any studio really makes a season 1 being like, okay, well, season 1's going to suck, but season 2 is going to be great. You got to make a great season 1.
Yeah.
So, but this season 2 did look like a more interesting kind of like, oh, okay, now things are moving, now things are up and running, and it looked more like Game of Thrones, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, for me.
And it might be one of those where if you can watch season 1 directly into season 2, it changes your perspective on things.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, absolutely.
At the same time, I don't know how many different places or how many different shows I've heard from people of like, oh yeah, if you get through season 1, it's great.
Oh, I know.
And I'm like, if I have to get through season 1, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
And then it's funny.
But I've been told there's been times where my wife and I have watched shows where people say that to us, like, just get through season 1, and I'm just like, I'm in season 1 and it's great. What are you talking about?
Right.
Like, I like season 1.
Well, and it's funny because I've told people about I've told people that about the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, get through like season 1.5 and it's great. And right now I'm watching through it with my son and I'm like, there's some bangers in season 1.
Yeah, we talked about that recently. Yeah, there's really great stuff. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, Brian in the chat literally just said before, because there's the lag. He said, feels like they were thinking that in the first couple of seasons of Clone Wars.
Oh yeah, there we go.
So
great minds.
Yeah. So after you type that, he'll have heard me say exactly that.
Yes.
So
yeah,
glad we're on the same page, Ryan. So
all right, next up we got a teaser, very minimal teaser, cool nonetheless, for the long-awaited Beetlejuice 2, now officially titled Beetlejuice, which I think is a funny title. However, if you don't make a third one and it's called Beetlejuice, then you're wasting your time.
What are you doing?
I feel like calling the second one Beetlejuice really invites you to make a third one. So
100%. They got to be.
You have to.
There's something in the there's something in the bag right now, I'm sure.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, this is just a straight up teaser. No official release date other than it said 2024 AD. So sometime this year, we're getting Beetlejuice. My guess is that they will try to put it out sometime around Halloween.
I would try.
We shall see. Directed by Tim Burton. We get returning cast members Michael Keaton as the titular Beetlejuice. I'm trying to go off the top of my head because I didn't write it out, but we get Winona Ryder as Lydia Dietz. We get Catherine O'Hara as her mother, and her daughter as played by the actress name
Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega.
Yep.
Yes, of course, who has worked with Tim Burton on Wednesday.
She's all over the
and
place
is a
lately too.
Scream queen of herself, being in the last couple Scream movies. Yeah, she's all over the place. She's great. And I don't know, at least like the color palette, the way they were shooting this looked a lot like the first Beetlejuice. I haven't seen the first Beetlejuice in a while, but they're certainly pulling those same strings. Just showing the house. They're at a funeral, something like that. They're showing the classic house. Jenna Ortega is going upstairs, pulling. I think it's Jenna Ortega, or is it Winona Ryder? I don't know. Pulling the sheet off of the model of the town as the model starts splitting apart, and up rises Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. The juice is loose is the one line that he has in the trailer, which is very Beetlejuice kind of line.
Yeah.
What do we think about Beetlejuice? Beetlejuice, Steve. Thoughts?
I think I
Feelings?
completely forgot it was happening.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
I
you
couldn't
put that link,
believe
and
it
I
was
was like, wait,
happening.
what? Oh, okay.
I mean, when they officially announced it, I was like, this is a joke, right? This isn't gonna really happen. And here we are, talking about a trailer for Beetlejuice. Not that I don't want it to happen. I don't think it's
Right.
necessary. But I also think that I feel like Tim Burton's the kind of guy that's not gonna do a sequel unless he thinks it's a good idea to do a sequel. Like, he doesn't need to make Beetlejuice. You know what I mean? He's got to want to make Beetlejuice. So what's gonna want to make him do it? A fun story or a good idea or whatever. I don't know, or maybe not. Maybe he just wants to work with Michael Keaton and Catherine O'Hara again. Who knows?
Right. And apparently Willem Dafoe and somebody else are in this.
Oh, cool.
Just saw it before we recorded. Monica Bellucci.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So it'll be interesting to see how or what or where that, all comes together. It's, the first one was great. And
very strange.
Yeah. I just didn't know I just didn't know I wanted another one or needed another one or anything.
I don't know that I want another one, but I will see it. And I think because I know that I don't need a sequel to Beetlejuice. Like, I know it. And part of me doesn't even want one. But that is allowing me to go into this and being like, all right, you guys wanted to make a second Beetlejuice, so let's see what it's all about. Like, I'm not going to...
You're going to go into this like I just went into Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, exactly, yeah. Like, Beetlejuice is a great movie, but it's not one that, like, is in my heart in the way that, whatever, Star Wars is or something. Like, if you're making a sequel, like, I'm really going to have high hopes.
Yep.
I don't have high hopes for this. I just want, if Michael Keaton makes me laugh a few times and it's a little bit creepy and scary like the first one is, then I'm down. Great. Amazing. I gotta say, they did keep with modern trailer tradition and have a slightly slower and slightly spookier version of a famous song from the original series, which I feel like sequels do that a lot. And this was a slow and slightly creepy version of Deo, which is sung prominently.
Oh, when that starts right off the trailer with that kids chorus in the slower pace, and I'm just like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah, great.
It's the standard I didn't know I was in until I was in.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like Beetlejuice is such a weird movie. Like, it's so weird and so strange that I can't imagine. I feel like it will be hard to organically match that weirdness and strangeness that I think was just like lightning in a bottle, Tim Burton in his early I'm young and not scared of anything kind of days,
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see if they even try to go in that. Are they even going to try to match the strangeness or try to find the tone of the original, or if this is going to be like just a different movie with the same characters? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of, if they can't organically do it, then I hope that they don't. But I don't know. Who knows how to even measure that? I don't know.
These things I don't know.
Yep. Something that seems like it is capturing the style and feel of its first installment is a trailer for The Penguin, the HBO Max series spinoff from The Batman, starring Colin Farrell in his crazy, doesn't look like Colin Farrell penguin makeup. No date for this one, just this fall.
Yep.
And this was more of a teaser as well. It's Penguin talking to somebody, telling a story about a gangster from his neighborhood when he was a kid and how he was so well respected, and there was a parade for him after he died, and intercut with all these other scenes kind of reminding us that, yeah, half of Gotham is underwater or destroyed because of the flood at the end of the Batman, and he's going back into the Iceberg Lounge, possibly burning it down. He's meeting with people. There's people screaming, shooting guns. It looks very dark and violent. There's one great shot of him sitting across from renowned character actor Clancy Brown, who has been cast as Salvatore Maroni. Character that's talked about quite a bit in the Batman, but not pictured. Love Clancy Brown. Voice of Lex Luthor in the Justice League Unlimited series and Superman animated series. So no stranger to the world DC Comics or just nerddom in general.
Yeah, he's also writer of Zodi.
Yep.
In Rebels.
And he is Savage Opress.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah. He's all over the Star Wars animated world. So yeah, the Penguin. As someone who really likes the Batman, we talked about it recently, how much I love that movie. I am very pumped for this. And I think Colin Farrell looks great. I believe this is from the mind or the pen of Matt Reeves. He's a producer. I don't know that he wrote it or directed it, but he is involved in it for sure. So I do feel like this is going to kind of tide me over now that the Batman has been delayed like an entire year, or Batman Part 2, I should say. This is a great tide over for me. Yeah, Colin Farrell looks great. He's acting great. It looks intense. And if they can pull it off, they can pull it off. I don't know. I'm sold on. I'm in for this. It just looked like more of the thing that I already love, but from a different perspective, a villain's perspective instead of Batman's perspective. What do you think, Steve?
It seemed cool. I mean, I don't have the same draw to those characters as you do. So when I'm seeing it, all I'm seeing is like a decent looking gangster flick.
Yeah, a mob show. Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
I guess from my standpoint, the question will be whether it holds up to, is it just a good show? Because, I know the names, but I have no idea of the characterizations of like Salvatore Maroni or any of that.
Sure.
Do I want to see Colin Farrell and Clancy Brown absolutely cooking? Yeah.
Yeah, have like a turf war or something?
Like,
yes.
That,
yeah.
Like, give me those two actors. I mean, the last thing I saw Colin Farrell in was Banshees of Inisherin. So
I know.
A little bit different feel.
I know it's like the most cliche thing to say, but it's just insane how different he looks in that makeup. Like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
I think we're going to say it's ridiculous to see how good of a movie Banshees of Inisherin was.
Oh, well, that too. Yeah, that is an incredible film. I've watched the Batman enough where now I can see his eyes behind the makeup. Like, I can tell that it's Colin Farrell in there now.
I feel like in the trailer, it threw me off because I felt like there were some inconsistencies in the Farrell and the makeup thing.
They might have changed the makeup a little bit. Maybe they made it easier to put on because he was going to be wearing it longer or whatever. But I agree that it looked a little different. But there's always that stuff between movies or between.
Well, no, I mean even within shots.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I remember looking at it and then like looking later in the trailer, and it was who knows? It's one of those where it's like when you're watching it, you probably don't even notice it, and it was probably just how it was cut, or I might be way off. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, seemingly it's going to be about Penguin's rise to power or him seizing power while Gotham is kind of in chaos after the events of the Batman. I'm down for that. What I'm hoping for really, and this trailer kind of made me think that, I'm hoping that the Penguin is the show that I wanted Gotham to be. The Fox show Gotham.
Yeah.
That was insane. Like, I really hope that the Penguin is what that could have been.
That started off with some promise and then went off the rails.
They just started focusing. Let's make all the villains crazy and and that was worth watching in its own right. Like, I certainly had a lot of fun watching that show as well, but this one looks a little bit more intense. Speaking of intense, this is, again, every once in a while we talk about a horror thing because I'm a big horror fan, and it's not completely outside the realm of things that are within the nerdosphere. But we got a teaser trailer for Alien Romulus, one of my most anticipated projects of the year, coming out on August 16th, 2024. Steve, our mutual friend, Matt Poseda, sent me just like a link to this trailer. It was like or he sent it to me on Instagram. He's forwarded me like an Instagram reel version of the trailer. And I just started looking at it. I didn't know what it was. There's like a spaceship going, and then the first words on the screen said, "From Fede Alvarez." And I knew immediately that's the director. And I wish that someone had been filming me. I was by myself, but I saw From Fede Alvarez and I went, "Oh!" And I dropped my phone and I ran to my television so I could watch it on like my big full screen TV. So excited. Trailer for Alien Romulus, which I loved.
Yeah.
I loved it. It looks like Alien.
That was going to be my biggest thing was like, again, similar to the Acolyte trailer. Very same vein where you're just like, I don't think this told me anything, but it sure as hell felt like Alien.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, especially at the end when the last shot is the aforementioned xenomorph. Like,
right. Yeah.
Just a quick clip of it that was just perfectly timed and appropriate to what you were seeing.
Yeah. It looks creepy. It looks confined, like what I like about the original Alien movie. Something I like about the Alien franchise in general, that every movie is different. You know, like the first one's like a slow burn horror movie. The second one is like an 80s military action movie. And the third one is this weird, bleak prison planet thing. Like the vibe of each movie is different.
Yeah.
Even like Prometheus and Alien Covenant, like the two prequels that we've gotten, like they feel like different films. And this one is the first one that I look at and I'm like, oh, they're trying to recapture Alien. So normally I feel like I'd be like, oh, we've already seen this. Can we do something else? But I was like, well, we haven't really seen it since 1979. So like, I'm okay with like a modern version of that. And I'm sure like he did with his Evil Dead reboot, he's probably going to take the best of the vibe of those original movies, but like clearly put his own spin on it and reinvent it in some way or turn it on its head. Like one thing that I thought was terrifying in this trailer, something I've never seen. Usually when you see a face hugger, you just see it come out of the egg and it like jumps on you. This was like a door breaking and just like a whole mob of face huggers scurrying around like spiders. That was terrifying.
Extremely creepy.
So terrifying. I'm like, oh, I do not want to see that.
Yeah.
But I also am dying to see that. I'm giddy just talking about it right now. So excited for a new Alien movie.
Yep.
Is this one that you think you would see?
Oh,
I know you're less a horror person, but you know you respect.
Oh, but Alien is its own animal.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna go out of my way to go see every B-list horror or whatever's dropping, but I will hit what, you know, like you said, I have that reverence and whatnot for the masterpieces.
Sure.
Like, and Alien is an absolute masterpiece.
I agree.
And
I agree.
I still can't comprehend the dichotomy of Alien to Aliens and how they were both A+ movies.
I know.
And so drastically different.
Yeah, I know. It feels like that's a move you can't make now, I feel like. Like it's a miracle that Aliens was so well received.
I'm trying to think of like what a modern something that dropped that would have like, I don't know, maybe
if you're listening or watching and you're not sure what we're talking about the fact that kind of what I just said, where Alien is like a slow burn sci-fi horror film made by Ridley Scott, directed by Ridley Scott, and then Aliens, directed by James Cameron, is still kind of a slow burn and it's sci-fi, but it's Marines going into a hive of aliens. It's like a Vietnam War film.
Right, it's a pure action movie.
It's an action movie. It's an 80s testosterone fueled action movie. Most of the that's what we're going for, but also has horror elements as well. So it's crazy that this first sequel to a hit film changes the genre of the franchise and is in a way that people accept and is still an incredibly popular movie. There's a lot of people that Aliens is their favorite movie over Alien. For me, it's always going to be Alien as like the classic
Right.
First one. It's also the first one I saw. But I think it's not invalid to like Aliens over Alien, because Aliens is also a great movie.
But it would have been
And
like if Fast and the Furious put like the first Fast and the Furious movie is what it was, and then the second is still a Fast and the Furious movie, but it's a police procedural instead.
sure, yeah,
And like it just drastically turning the page and shifting things, and like
right,
this is a completely different take. And let's go crazy. It's what I want to see out of Star Wars.
yeah,
Like
sure,
it, just those two different feels on that are what made that Alien universe seem bigger,
yeah,
because it
yeah,
wasn't just Sigourney Weaver trapped on the ship.
on one ship, yeah,
It
exactly,
was, oh, okay, well, because A happened, here's the response, and it's still in world, and it's a drastically different movie, but you can feel it still feels the same.
yeah, I agree.
I don't know
Yeah,
why I
because
feel
they
like I'm talking with my hands a lot today.
I don't know. I noticed that too.
Yeah.
But I think it's because they do set it up in a way that makes so much sense. And also, I don't know. I think it was like 6 or 7 years between the two movies too. Like they didn't.
Yeah.
It maybe even been longer than that. Like they didn't immediately make a sequel to Alien, right from the jump. It was like a while later.
Aliens was 86, so almost
86. So
7 years.
7 years at least. Yeah. So maybe it was that length of time you let audiences kind of like be open to a new genre or whatever.
Yeah.
But I am very excited about this. We're getting this, and we're also getting a Hulu series, an alien-based
Oh, yeah, I
Hulu
forgot about
series
that.
this year. So I'm really excited. And I've been reading Alien Black, White, and Blood, the comic
Oh, yeah,
series
how was that?
they've been
Is
doing.
that?
It's very good. If you're an Alien fan, it is great. It's
Nice.
just like kind of like 3 short stories and an issue. Very cool. And maybe it's because there's not as many entries in this franchise as there are, superhero movies or something. But I don't think I'll ever get tired of a scenario where I'm seeing people that have never encountered xenomorphs
Mhm.
figuring out what is happening. And it's like, I just always love the tension in that. Like, what is this egg? What is this thing on my face? What is this thing bursting out of me? Oh, now this thing is huge. Oh, it's acid. It has acid blood. Like all those things are just, I love.
These are all perfectly normal things to be thinking of.
It's just like, it's immediate tension and immediate, it's like stakes and
Yep.
just immediate tension in any horror movie. Just like,
Yeah.
I know what that does, but that person doesn't know what that does, and I'm watching, like, you're just watching them walk into certain doom, and it's just, I just love it. I just love it.
Yeah, there's something
All
about
right.
that where you can, like, when you're following and you're like, again, that tension
Yeah.
that our children hate so much is just like,
Right.
if you can
what it
capture
is?
that, yeah.
Because a lot of times in a movie, if you know more than the main character on the screen,
Mhm.
you get bored because you're like, I figured it out already. Why don't they know it?
Right.
They're stupid. I solved the crime already, or I know who
Right.
did it. Like, so this is stupid. Why is
What are the
this
stupid
person
people
taking so
doing?
long?
Yeah.
I already know it. But in this case, it's a situation where you know the rules of the franchise. The characters do not know the rules of the franchise. So it's like a little different. It's not that they're stupid. You're just like, of course they don't know this because this is an insane thing that they're
Why
walking
would
into.
they know
would
this?
know, but I know the rules. So I'm excited to watch them figure out the rules in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
I also just love, not to talk about Alien for too much longer, but I just gotta say, I love that there's so many like steps in the Alien process. It's so like unique. Like, it's not just like a monster is born and attacks you. It's like there's an egg. The egg bursts a face hugger. Face hugger has to impregnate you through your face. And then a different creature is born from you. And then that creature gets huge, and then that creature will kill you, or will kill other people, or trap you in a cocoon so that you can also to make more aliens. It's just like there's so many steps to that process.
Yep.
It makes it such a unique monster, a unique threat. It's so cool. Anyway, speaking of less horrible, terrifying things, another trailer,
All right.
but for a video game this
Yeah.
time. We got our first look at Marvel 1943: The Rise of Hydra. This is a game we heard about a long time ago, and I had forgotten about. But as soon as I saw it, I remembered that we talked about an announcement or something at some point.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game that's going to be released in 2025. It's a game featuring Captain America and an early Black Panther, T'Challa's grandfather, fighting in World War II. This is a very cool concept for a game.
Yeah.
For sure. It's a unique concept for a game because it's like a team up, two characters, and not. I feel like with superhero games, I feel like you either get single player, like here's a Batman game, you can play Batman,
Right. The Arkham games.
or you get the Arkham games, or you get like here's an Avengers game, you can be every character that there is.
Mhm.
You know, like there's very little like it's just a team up. You can be this person or you can be this person. And I think that's cool. Kind of keeps it on the smaller side, but you get two different perspectives. You get two different playable characters.
Yep.
And I assume it's some like this.
Well,
the trailer
technically, there's
makes
4
them
different
kind of.
playable characters.
Oh, they each have like a little side character.
Yeah. So I think it'll be
right?
I think it'll be similar to the Spidey games where you had those couple of missions
Yes.
as MJ or something along
Sure,
those
yeah.
lines, because you have the aforementioned Cap. You have Atsuri, who is T'Challa's grandfather, and the World War II era Black Panther. You have Gabriel Jones, who's one of the Howling Commandos, and Anali, a Wakandan spy embedded in occupied Paris, per the release. So
cool.
It seems like you'll have, who knows how much the adjacent characters will be featured, but worst case, you get Cap and a Black Panther, and what more do you need?
I know. The trailer kind of made it seem like they were going to be antagonistic. My guess is that it's going to be like a classic versus thing where at first they're antagonistic, but then they realize they have to team up to defeat the greater threat, which will probably be Red Skull. I mean, who are we kidding?
I mean, if it's Rise of Hydra, that sounds right.
I mean, you'll be fighting Hydra people, and also the boss at the end will be Red Skull. That's my guess. I'm definitely down for this game. Steve, what'd you think? Excited?
Yeah, it seems awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when. It's just going to be sometime in 25, right?
Yeah, there's no specific date, but
I definitely. Let's put it this way: after watching the trailer, it's going to move up my "should I buy this when it comes out" scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I'll be interested to see some gameplay, hopefully within the next year.
Yeah, depending on how that all plays out
year.
and reviews and that, it's definitely not a like Avengers was a wait for it to show up on Game Pass or whatever the PlayStation equivalent is.
Yeah. Agreed.
And then I only played like a quarter of the game, and I was like, this is not what I want.
I still think I should go back to it, but I'm just like, I don't think I want to.
Yeah.
It's not that. Yeah. Yeah, not what it could have been.
It's not Spider-Man where it's like, okay, if I knew one of these is coming out, I'm buying it yesterday.
I'm buying it immediately. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Okay, so Steve, last week we talked about how we did a poll at Syracuse Collectors Con.
We did.
And we thought we would release that in a separate episode. Turns out that we didn't do that. We didn't release it in the results in a separate episode, but we have them right now. We're going to do it in this episode. We're going to do our results of the Syracuse Collectors Con nerd polls. You got 3 and I have 3. Should I go first or do you want to go first?
Who talks first?
I'll talk first since that's a Star Wars reference, and my first thing, Star Wars 1. So one of the polls that we did at Syracuse Collectors Con. So this is nerds of Syracuse.
Yes. And adjacent areas.
In this poll. Yes. So I think it's safe to say that all of these results just speak to the greater Syracuse area in general. So Syracuse's favorite droid. We had many choices to choose from. R2-D2, C-3PO, BB-8, D-O, HK-47, Chopper, K-2SO, IG-88, BD-1, Huyang, a couple of write-ins for like Mouse Droid, Gonk, HK-51.
Yep, from the Old Republic video game.
Yep. And B2 Emo is also a write-in.
Oh, that's a solid. That should have made the list.
B2 Emo is in my top 10 droids.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Sure.
He definitely he's not near getting a vote from me, but he's
right. He's
he
up
quickly rose through the strata.
Big fan of him.
Yep.
So,
we're both dog people though, so it makes sense.
True. 2 and 3 are right around the same here. We got Chopper came in third place with 15. Coming in second was C-3PO with 16.
Okay.
So only one more vote than Chopper. But running away with it, Syracuse's favorite droid with 49 votes. One and only R2-D2. Syracuse's favorite droid. Thank you, Syracuse. He's my favorite droid too.
Yeah, he did not get the vote from me, but I was an HK-47.
You're an HK-47 guy. Yeah.
You
were not alone.
If
you
I
were not
had
alone
to,
with HK-47.
yeah, there was probably, I think, 4.
7.
Oh, wow. Definitely more than
There
I
you
talked
go.
to then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for anyone who wasn't at the con, I was manning the Multiverse Report table. Mike had his table with his books on it and whatnot. We were both interacting with people, but I was like hovering over where people were
Sure.
answering questions. So, people would drop an HK-47 and, I'd be able to have a nice conversation with them and whatnot. And it's funny looking through the tallies, some of the ones I caught and some of the ones I missed. Like whether I'm talking to somebody and they fill something else out or whatever. There were some interesting write-ins for the ones that I ended up having. So
nice.
Yeah. The droid though, that was one of the most popular ones. We sold out. Yeah, we sold out.
We sold out. Yeah.
We sold out of free slips to answer that question both days.
Yeah.
So there were 120 responses.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of crazy to think. But yeah, R2, I mean, he's the only reason that the movies even worked. He saved the day more times than anybody in the movies.
I agree.
Hell, they wouldn't have gotten out of the prequels. We were talking at the con.
Yeah, they would have died in the prequels.
Yeah.
The
Phantom Menace would have won.
Exactly. My next category is I'm going to go to favorite Star Trek series. This was one that was a less popular voting on. Trekkies did not show up apparently. Syracuse Collectors Con, but
this was also some of these. There's a weird dichotomy because what happened the first day was we had these questions out, and I printed 60 slips out, thinking I don't know how many people are going to be at the con, but there's not going to be 60 people that are going to want to answer these questions or whatever.
Right.
We ran out by like 1 PM.
Yeah.
So I had to bring out the questions that were supposed to be for Sunday.
Yeah.
So they were the second half of the day questions on both days, so that's probably why they ended up with a little less.
Could be.
Little less love.
Top 3 for favorite Star Trek series with 5 votes, Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
With 8 votes, the original series. And again, pretty healthy landslide victory for the Next Generation with 18 votes. Syracuse, your Next Generation town.
Yeah. I do know I saw a couple of Voyagers in there. Were there any write-ins on those?
I don't think I saw any write-ins. We had, I didn't read what the category, what all they were. Original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine. I abbreviated, so I don't know what they are.
I think it was Voyager.
Strange New World.
Yep, Strange New Worlds. Maybe Picard. I can't remember.
One that started with a D. Maybe?
Oh, Discovery.
Yeah, no one voted for Discovery.
No, that I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think someone wrote in the animated one, which Lower Decks.
Lower Decks. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. My final category. Who's your favorite Batman? Favorite Batman actor? And Steve, you and I thought that the first and second place were easy, but let me tell you, I teased this in the last one. Second and third place, very close, very close. Our choices were
surprised me.
Yeah, same. Our choices were Michael Keaton, Christian Bale, Kevin Conroy, Robert Pattinson, Adam West, and Ben Affleck. We also left a write-in space. People could write in Val Kilmer. People could write in George Clooney. I did not keep track of the write-ins for this category.
We had 1 Kilmer and 2 Clooneys.
Yeah.
That I know of.
Right. Yeah. Well, we had a couple. I think those 2 Clooneys, they wrote in Clooney, but they also voted for somebody else. So anytime someone voted for more than 2 things, I canceled it. I didn't count it. You only got to pick one. That's what we were telling people at the table. Got to pick one. So Kevin Conroy and Christian Bale, 2 votes apart.
Okay.
Christian Bale's 24. Kevin Conroy, weeks past him with 26.
Okay.
26. And that's really crazy because you and I were talking at the show about how few votes we thought Christian Bale was getting.
Right.
Apparently, the
Must have been the
Christian Bale
silent
voters
folks
just
that-
not talkative. Yeah.
Right. Which
Exactly.
fits for Christian Bale's Batman.
Yeah. And also, not quite as a landslide, but clear victory. Michael Keaton is Syracuse's Batman with 35 votes for Michael Keaton.
He wanted to get nuts.
Come on. Let's get nuts. I voted for Robert Pattinson just to shake things up. I could have gone with a lot of these people, but
I went Conroy
Keaton.
strictly because I, to this day, still read comics in Kevin Conroy's voice.
So do I, but it's hard to compare Kevin Conroy to the live action people because
It is.
Because you know, if you're voting for Michael Keaton or Robert Pattinson or whoever, you're voting for someone who not only is doing a voice but also completely physically embodying the character and wearing a suit and looking like Batman.
Yeah.
Kevin Conroy only sounded like Batman in a way that influenced an entire generation of Batman fans, obviously,
Mhm.
and redefined the character in a certain way. But it's hard for me to compare Kevin Conroy to somebody who is fully live action wearing a bat suit. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
100%.
no shade on Kevin Conroy. He's incredible.
Yep.
And I also hear his voice in my head when I'm reading Batman comic books. But anyway, Steve, let's do your three. Before we
So
do some comic news.
the three that I had were your favorite Doctor from Doctor Who, which we
Yeah.
may mix up for the next con. We had Mike had an awesome idea as to how to change
Yeah.
this, so more to come on that. Your favorite Spider-Man and which movie you're more excited about, Fantastic Four or Superman, which I believe got the least amount of votes in any of our polls just because of the way it worked out.
Also, I'll say this now. Shocking the amount of people that did not know either of those movies were coming out next year.
Very surprising.
I mean, I guess people are just straight up comic book people and not comic book film people. But the amount of people that were like, whoa, they're making a new Superman movie? Or, whoa, they're making a Fantastic Four? Like,
Right, and this
Yeah.
wasn't like walking around, Hanover Square.
this wasn't just
asking
working on
people-
downtown
right.
Syracuse. This was a convention for nerds to come and purchase nerdy things.
Yes.
Whoa, there's this new Superman movie coming out?
The-
Yeah, dude.
These were people that were talking to Mike about his comic book and then
Yeah.
came over and were surprised. So
Hey, there's a Fantastic Four movie? What? What? Why are you here?
well, they were here to
Anyway.
answer these questions.
They were here to ask
Um,
these questions. But anyway, take it away.
And if anyone is listening and was one of those people, then we're glad we could tell you that it was happening.
Yes.
uh,
yeah.
So
Sorry that we just made fun of
for your favorite Doctor from Doctor Who, on the I was going to say on the tableau, on the little score sheet that you
Mhm.
could have chosen, your options were Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor, Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor, David Tennant, the 10th Doctor, Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor, or Peter Capaldi, the 12th Doctor, as well as some write-ins.
Of
So
course, because there's been 15 doctors, so we didn't have room to just list all 15. on the
correct.
tear off sheet.
So we went with the top 5, and like I looked up a bunch of different sites as to who consensus top 5 were, which is weird
Yeah.
because it's very impossible to find a top 5 consensus. So I kind of aggregated them and threw them on there. This is what happens when you get Steve talking about Doctor Who to a bunch of people. I thought I did very well holding my own for being nowhere near
You did
the
great.
Whovian that you are.
Yeah, you did great.
So the results are in. Because it was so spread, I'm gonna give in some of the write-ins as well. So William Hartnell, the first Doctor, John Pertwee, the third Doctor, and Jodie Whittaker, the 13th Doctor, all
wow.
got one write-in vote. Peter Davidson, who I believe is the 8th Doctor, I think he was the last one before the 60s series ended, as well as Patrick Troughton got 2. Christopher Eccleston, who is the 9th Doctor, who relaunched the series in the modern era, got 7 votes in general. Next up is Peter Capaldi, who is in 4th place with 11 votes. And then, strangely, the break in eras occurs now, where a lot of people like the 12th Doctor and a lot of people like the 4th Doctor, and it was the same number of people.
Wow.
In second place, tied for second place,
Wow.
Tom Baker and Matt Smith with 16 votes each.
Wow.
And then
That means my man, number one,
as
my
expected,
guy.
if you want a runaway, you got an R2D2 area like size runaway here. David Tennant with 40 votes.
Woo!
So
Congratulations, David Tennant.
absolutely walked away with it. If we ever meet David Tennant, we'll have to give him a plaque for winning this. Should just make one up and hold on to it in the ever eventuality we meet him. Because why not?
Really, for all these categories, we should make the victor a plaque. If we ever meet
Yeah.
R2D2.
Yeah.
Give him a plaque.
We did meet R2D2 at Syracuse Collectors Con.
I didn't. I only saw him from like.
Oh, I walked
Across
past him when I
thing.
was leaving. He was still
Yeah.
physically there. Not
Oh, really?
turned on, but
I don't think I saw him.
him and Chopper were chilling just there.
Jealous.
Next up is your favorite Spider-Man, Syracuse. We had a tie for fifth place with one vote each
All right.
for the write-ins. We had Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker.
Oh, yeah.
We had Benjamin Valek, who is the voice of Spidey from Spidey and His Amazing Friends. We had Christopher Daniel Barnes, who is the 90s animated Spider-Man.
Wow. Okay.
We had, trust me, they wrote 90s Spider-Man. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
And we had one for Josh Keaton, who, if I ever can release, there's some weird difficulties with the con audio. So if you were one of the people that recorded audio, I apologize. We haven't gotten it out yet. But there was one impassioned vote for Josh Keaton from the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. If I ever get around to releasing it to you guys, very good and salient points on why he would be the preferred one. Next up was, and I feel like I could have phrased this slightly better, because the four options that were given were Shamik Moore from the Spider-Verse trilogy.
Yep.
And I feel like I threw people off with Spider-Verse trilogy and not just writing like Miles
Into the Spider-Verse or something.
Into the Spider-Verse or something like that.
Sure.
Because again, with the voice actor thing, who knows, like, unless you were looking it up, that Shamik Moore was the voice of Miles
You may not know
Morales.
the name. Yeah.
Even with that, Shamik got 18 votes.
Nice.
Followed up by Andrew Garfield with 23. And then in a much more surprising tight vote at 1 and 2.
Ooh.
So 3 and 4 were pretty tight. And 1 and 2, Tom Holland came in second with 35 votes.
Wow.
Tobey Maguire was first with only 41 compared to the 35.
Ooh,
so
wow.
a six vote swing there, which did surprise the heck out of me, the way people were talking about Tobey.
Well, congratulations, Tobey Maguire. We will make a plaque for you
in
the event that we ever meet you.
And to finalize, to finish out our questions from Syracuse Comic-Con, which movie were people more excited for, Superman or Fantastic Four? The answer was Superman.
Wow, really? Awesome.
Superman 21-14 over the Fantastic Four.
I feel like I heard just the same amount of people saying Fantastic Four versus saying Superman, so I really had no idea what that one was going to be.
Yeah, it seemed it, and it was very much, I feel like there were a lot of, well, neither, because all the recent ones have both sucked.
Yeah.
Type things, which, I feel like that's discounting Man of Steel, but whatever. I, even as the non-DC guy, I feel like I'm a Man of Steel apologist. I thought that was a perfectly fine movie.
Yeah, it's fine.
Was it, again, much like I typed in our chat about Ghostbusters, was it cinema? No. Did I enjoy the heck out of it? Yeah. It was fun.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Cool.
I believe that concludes our 2024 Syracuse Collectors Con tally.
Well, thank you so much, Syracuse, for participating. If you're listening and you voted, those are your answers. Thank you so much for stopping by and allowing us to pick your brain about our nerdy opinions. Speaking of our nerdy opinions, I got an opinion about a comic book that I read this week. Do you got a comic book review to review? You want to go first, or want me to go first?
I can go first. Mine is a follow-up. I, of course, don't have it pulled out. Mine is a follow-up to one that I had done previously. It is Ram V's latest offering, the One Hand #2.
Cool.
I don't know if you remember, but we had the one hand and the 6 fingers that were kind of
Yeah.
both playing off each other in the I believe they're calling it the Neo Novena universe or setting. That's I guess that's the town and that it's set in and whatnot. This fictional area and fictional place. Very solid second issue. I don't know. I almost want to say I'm enjoying the 6 fingers, which is not him. That is Dan. My brain is not functioning. Dan Waters. That's writing that one. That's kind of tying in. Ram V is kind of from the cop's perspective, and Waters' series is from the antagonist perspective.
Yeah.
So
nice.
it's they're playing off each other quite nicely. Really enjoying the artwork in both of them. Really kind of selling the setting on me. I know they've got a couple copies down at Funky Town Comics and Vinyl. If you want to grab, I think they might have 2 of the 3 or all 3 at this point. I think there might have been like one of the number 1 left somewhere. But either way, Ram V is still putting out quality stuff because he does.
Yeah, he's a great writer.
Yeah, I definitely want to continue with this one.
Oh, cool. I got Ultimate Black Panther #1.
Nice.
Written by Brian Hill, art by Stefano Caselli. Have you read this?
I have.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
It was amazing.
I really liked it.
It also was a very Black Panther story. Like
yeah.
it wasn't reinventing any wheels, but there were enough subtle things that made it ultimate. And
to me, I thought there was a couple reinventions of a couple wheels. So I haven't read Ultimate Spider-Man because it's sold out and I can't find a copy anywhere.
Right.
And
no offense,
Ultimate
I'm not
X-Men.
giving you my apparently $180 copy.
Insane. I'm really kicking myself that I didn't go. Because I think I told you, I was like, oh, Ultimate Spider-Man, should I go? I was like, I'll just go tomorrow. And I went on the Thursday instead of the Wednesday, and they were sold out, and they've been sold out forever. If I'd gone Wednesday, I could have gotten a book that's worth almost $200 now.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, it's and that the one I chose the black suit variant because I thought it looked cool. I was like, oh, that's a cool looking variant. I'll get that.
Yeah.
And just randomly happened to be one of the ones that spiked. I'm like, okay, cool.
So is the theory across all Ultimate books is that a diabolical genius known as the Maker used time travel to create an ideal Earth by systematically preventing anyone from ever becoming a superhero? Is that a thing?
Yeah, so that's the premise on the new
Ultimate
the new
universe.
Ultimate.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why Peter never got bitten by the spider.
Right.
And all that. So
and that's why Wakanda seems semi-exempt from that because there is a Black Panther that exists. It's not like they don't have Black Panther armor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But so the technological stuff is there, but like I don't know if he's
right.
Like we don't know if he's eating the herb or whatever, any of that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. Good call. So yeah, there's a group of people like wreaking havoc in Africa, and kind of begs that classic Black Panther thing of people need our help. We need to show ourselves to the world to help them, but they don't want to expose Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
He's married to T'Challa is married to Okoye in this series. Okoye is the queen of Wakanda. That's a bit of a changing things up, I believe. Also, it seems like they're setting up the antagonist of the series being Moon Knight.
So it seems like there's because the way I was reading it was not Moon Knight, but like some other entities of Khonshu called Moon Knights.
Yes.
Or something.
Yeah, and I was a little confused on that, but also Killmonger made an appearance
with
Wind Rider, which is clearly Storm.
It's 100% Aurora Monroe.
It's 100% going to be Storm, right? They don't show her, but he's calling to her and signaling her, and she's using lightning to destroy helicopters and,
Right. There's one person we know that tends to do that, tends to also be associated with Wakanda.
Wakanda, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the end, he finally puts on the Black Panther armor and says, "Our enemy calls themselves Moon Knight. Wakanda is at war." But I mean, they reference Khonshu a couple times in this book, but I read that line and I was like, how does he know that they call themselves Moon Knight? No one told him that they call themselves Moon Knight in this book. So hopefully that's explained in issue 2, which I might read because again, I thought this was great. If you are
I
also
want to
like
say
the redesigned Black Panther suit that give him a little his mouth sticks out.
Yeah.
It's not like a Spider-Man thing, it's more like a Batman thing.
I want to say
I like that.
the Ron Conchu thing was. It's looking here that it might have been explained in Ultimate Invasion, which I didn't end up grabbing. So
also seems like there's like personified versions of Ra and Khonshu.
yeah,
it's like literal people leading an army, not giant gods or whatever. You know?
Right, and I think that's part of what's being explained further.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, this was great. I feel like if you are someone that likes Black Panther and wants a good jumping on point, this is a great one.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like it's going to be a little different than what's going on in the MCU or what's going on in other comics you may have read, but Ultimate Black Panther felt very much like a Black Panther book for sure.
Yeah, and if you missed it, I know Jesse and the crew they got the second printings in for
they definitely
Black
have
Panther
copies
and
of it.
X-Men.
Yeah.
So, and I think I talked about last week Ultimate X-Men. First time Armor has really gotten any characterization, and it's awesome.
Yeah, you did mention Armor.
So
yeah,
Peach Momoko is, it's Peach Momoko art. Like you're in for that style, and she's writing it as well. So I'm liking it so far. We do have a comic review in the chat.
Ooh, what do we got?
We have a chat or a comment from Mr. Brian Rowlands saying he needs Mike to sign his Amazing Shakes Vampire Girlfriend book. The book and the art are amazing. They're fantastic.
Is it not signed? Look at the back, like the back page where about the artist. They should be signed. If you got an unsigned one, you got like a rare unsigned
That's
one.
actually more rare than the signed ones.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. My artist and I sat down and signed so many. We spent like 2 hours just signing books when he was here, and we got him in. So check the back page where it says about the creators or whatever it is. Yeah.
Nice.
But if not, yes, I will sign it for you 100%. Steve, quick update on your 1,000 comics. You still falling behind, or did you do some catching up this past week?
Caught up, but still behind. Like,
Okay,
I stayed on pace. I have hit over 200, which is mildly stupid and insane.
Congratulations, Steve.
Yeah, thanks. I think.
Great job.
Why I continue to do this, I don't know, but it's fun. So that's why I guess I continue to do it. Yeah, finished out. So I read for the first time the original Ultimate Fallout series, the 1 through 6 that included Miles becoming Spider-Man and the death of Spider-Man and all that. Or I guess the immediate fallout from the death of Spider-Man. And then caught up on Dead X-Men, Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin 2 Re-Evolution, which dropped and was great.
Good.
Another solid follow. I think did you borrow my Last Ronin to read?
No.
Oh, okay.
I've read the first issue of it though.
Okay.
But yeah.
The rest of them are also good. And then this one is quite solid. I did the dumb thing. You remember how Funky Town and Syracuse Collectors Con had the exclusive for Turtles 148?
Yeah.
Decided to read that book, then decided to pick up 149. And then 150 is going to be a milestone issue, and then they're doing a hard stop and rebooting. I think they're rebooting with a number 1. I can't remember who's picking it up. I think. Oh, that's what it is. Guess who is picking up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Are you like another publisher or
no, another writer?
I don't know.
Maybe famous for his runs on Thor or with the Avengers.
Jason Aaron?
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so he's doing like Superman, Batman, and the Ninja Turtles.
Apparently.
Wow, that's cool.
So yeah, that's I don't know how, because Superman, Batman, and Ninja Turtles that's quite the
Yeah, but that'll account for a lot of the remainder of your 1,000 comics, I would think.
that's definitely going to be some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jason Aaron, Tom Waltz, with Chris Burnham and Gavin Smith art when that relaunches,
Wow. Cool.
and the A cover already looks cool. So yeah.
Nice.
So that'll be fun. Trying to think of what else. I did read the first trade of Saga.
Cool.
Read some more, or read through 5 in Supergirl.
Okay.
I think there's
Yeah, I
8 in
gotta
that
jump on
mini,
Supergirl.
and then a couple more of the All Star Superman.
Yep, I've been reading All-Star Superman as well. Yeah.
So fun
Cool, man.
times.
Well, maybe you can add some of these to your 1,000 comics list. Coming out this week, your local comic book store, you got Alan Scott Green Lantern number 5, Amazing Spider-Man number 46, Amazon's Attack number 6, Batman Dark Age number 1, Batman Brave and the Bold number 11, Cable number 3, Conan the Barbarian number 9, Daredevil number 7, Detective Comics number 1083, Edge of the Spider-Verse number 2, Flash number 7, Ghostbusters Back in Town number 1, Green Arrow number 10, Harley Quinn number 38, Incredible Hulk number 10, Jackpot and Black Cat number 1, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 118, Miles Morales Spider-Man number 18, Monstress number 50, Penguin number 8, Power Girl number 7, Predator The Last Hunt number 2, Quick Stops number 2, Rise of Powers of X number 3, Star Trek Defiant number 13, Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi number 6, Superior Spider-Man number 5, Ultimate Spider-Man number 3, Wolverine number 46, X-Force 50, and X-Men 97 number 1. Now, Steve, we said we were going to talk about X-Men 97 earlier. We didn't. You've seen both episodes of X-Men 97?
I have.
As have I.
All right. Are there any books you're going to pick up, including X-Men 97?
I don't know that I'm going to get X-Men 97. I am going to get Batman Dark Age number 1 because it is a pseudo sequel to Superman Space Age. Came out last year, a 3-volume DC Black Label book that was excellent.
Yep.
And this is the same creative team. Superman Space Age is kind of like retelling Superman's origin and the Justice League's origin in like a historical context.
Yep.
And they're doing the same thing with Batman now, and I'm very excited about that. So
nice.
I'm gonna check out Batman Dark Age number 1. I guess we can talk about comics before we talk about X-Men 97. Fine, Steve. What are you gonna get this week from this poll list?
Oh, I just wanted to point out Ultimate Spider-Man number 3, because I have not been this jazzed on a Spider-Man book in a long time. So
I wish I could have read either of them.
Yeah.
I haven't yet.
Well, and from your standpoint, I mean, Spider-Man is pretty close. Like, that was a solid.
Spectacular.
That was
Spider-Man
the first time
great,
it's spelt. It's spelt. It's the first time it's spelt like Spider-Man. No.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the second time. Brian Michael Bendis did a spectacular Spider-Man run back in the day.
That's true. Yeah, I remember
that. But yeah, like for some reason they lately are characterizing Spidey in the way they should, I guess, or the way that my 90s kid brain thinks they should.
Yeah, thinks they should. That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Because what they should do is whatever the hell they feel like doing. Because I'm sure somebody's loving the Zeb Wells stuff going on right now.
Yeah. Takes all different kinds.
Mm-hmm. Took all
speaking
different
of-
kinds to enjoy this shitty segue.
Yeah, I got a good one. Speaking of characterizations of characters that are great and are the way that they should be, X-Men 97.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I know when we talked about it earlier, I'll just say quick because I know we're probably close to that time. But I was someone that I watched the X-Men cartoon for a while. I didn't see every episode because it got crazy, like all X-Men things do. And I loved it when I was a kid. It wasn't necessarily like something I was excited about. Like I've never gone and revisited those old episodes because I don't even have to revisit them to remember how like melodramatic they were and like over the top, just dramatic and, crazy. And this started off, I was like, yep, they are doing the same. It's the same kind of melodrama But by the end of the first episode, I was like, yo, I love this. This is great. Like, it is that.
Yep.
But it is that in a way that I love and think is really cool. By the end of the second episode, I thought it was just a tremendous series, all in all. What are your top-down thoughts on X-Men 97?
I am with you. They nailed it.
Yeah.
Weirdly, as an aside, so you know how they have all the Flash, like on Disney Plus, when you pull it up, it's X-Men on the top.
Yeah.
Guess what my son decided to start watching today?
Oh, you said the original X-Men 97?
So I got to revisit Night of the Sentinels Part 1 and 2, the first two
Nice.
episodes of the original X-Men animated series.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there watching them like, yeah, this is great. This is the X-Men I remember. And just watching him watch so it's a two-parter.
Yep.
And by the second intro, when they go through all the characters, when Cyclops came on, he was like, Cyclops. Going through each of the characters, like, Cyclops, Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, like, he's hooked. So
awesome. That's awesome, dude.
Apparently we're going to be watching some X-Men.
I mean, this is what I saw a lot of people talking about this show. It was almost my entire Threads feed was people talking about X-Men 97 when it came out. And so this kind of got spoiled for me, but Cyclops doing the coolest stuff with his power that I've never seen anywhere else in a comic or in a movie or in another show, like using the force of his beams for like movement.
When they're
so cool.
falling out of the plane.
And
like Rogue and Storm are picking people up and helping them and doing whatever. And
see on the
Summers
ground
is just like chilling over there. I'm like, what is going to go on? And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, they're using his powers like he's supposed to. Oh,
so awesome.
Weird.
It's like grabbing Sunspot and like aiming at the floor to like slide them back across the room. It was like, and then shooting a guy. Like, so cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's so cool. Like,
the little things too that I forgot until I went and rewatched the Night of the Sentinels.
Yeah.
That the glint in his visor.
Yeah.
That happens like way too often. I forgot how much they did because I remembered it from the 90s cartoon. I forgot how often they do it. I was like, oh, that's why they're leaning into it. Okay, I got you now.
Yeah,
also,
great.
Bobby being Roberto being the first person we see in the new one, like Sunspot.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Like,
it's similar to Jubilee in the first one.
Yeah.
I feel like it was like her character intro. And, now it's his turn, which is super cool.
Because he's it's not like he's cut off from his family or anything. Like there's your money influx back in, and
yeah.
It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good, especially when you get to the end of the episode 2, and that cliffhanger hits. And I mean, I don't know. I don't think I want to ruin it for people that maybe they haven't seen it, but you learn something about Jean in the first episode and her relationship with Cyclops. And I was like, oh, okay, so they're just skipping over all that stuff from the comics.
Right.
And then you get to the end of episode 2 and nope, they're not skipping over anything. We're doing it.
Oh yeah. And that
it's going to be insane.
it's funny because like I was talking to a couple of my friends and they anecdotally know most of that stuff. Yeah. And it's like when it happened, I'm like, I can't tell because Lisa was actually watching it with me.
Yeah.
Which surprised the hell out of me. Like I think she sat down on accident when I started it. And then she was still watching it at the end of the second episode. So
wow.
But she's like asking questions and stuff. And I'm like, are you enjoying this? Okay, cool. But I was sitting there at the end and I'm like, I don't know how to describe what's going on here because in my head this is something that happened 20 years ago or that I've known about for 20 plus years.
Yep. Yeah.
30 years. Jesus, I'm old. But to her it's something novel, so I'm like I can't say anything even though I know what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't I shouldn't have doubted that they were going to do that because they did the whole Phoenix thing and they did
Right.
it like
Yeah,
very to the comics, like very traditional, like which
Oh,
is
yeah.
insane. It makes it crazy. You know, they didn't
Yep.
dumb it down like the films try to do or whatever. They do right out of the comic. So,
Yep.
of course,
Well, and
they're
it's
doing
the definition
stuff
of
with
when
Jean.
you hear people describe the X-Men as everybody's favorite superhero soap opera.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Here it is. Here it is.
Oh, also when the Sentinel said Omega threat or Omega level threat detected, I was like, oh
Yeah, that
boy.
was awesome. That was great.
Yep.
That was great.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Last thing, we got a one shot, and that is just that we got a new poster for the 25th anniversary of the re-release of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, coming back to theaters for its 25th anniversary on May 3rd. Obviously, that's the day before May the 4th. And also, select theaters on May the 4th, we're going to be having a marathon of all 9 Skywalker Saga films, which I believe is something like close to a full 24 hours. Can't
Yeah,
say I'm
it's
going to be
gotta
doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's just the Skywalker saga, you've got 9 at 3 hours a crack. Well, 2 and
Well, at least 2
yeah.
change. So, like, you're at least looking at 18 hours at least, but it's probably closer to 20 to 22 hours, I would think. With, like, you know,
Yeah, between
20-minute breaks in between movies or whatever they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be close to a full 24 hours.
Star Wars is the quickest at 2 hours and 5 minutes. So
Yeah. Wild.
yeah, and the longest is, I mean, the longest is probably Rise of Skywalker, right? No, longest is Last Jedi.
Last Jedi is the longest, yeah.
2:34.
Yep. Yeah.
Clone Wars is the shortest.
Oh man, do you think they're going to include Clone Wars in the? People would revolt.
Yeah,
And next up, 2008's
right in
the Clone
between,
Wars.
right in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge
Yeah.
of the Sith.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be great. What do you think, Babu Frick? Sorry, we neglected you most of the episode. Are you still okay? I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I think he'll survive.
Thank you to Babu Frick for joining us on this episode. But with that, I think that's all we got, Steve. I think that's everything. That's a week.
I think it
Week of
might be.
news.
And I might try and get that cut audio out, but we still got to figure out what we've got to do with a couple of pieces of the audio that we're at. But beyond that, yeah, I'd say if you're enjoying what you're hearing, feel free to like, subscribe, check us out, themultiversereport.com. It's got links to everything from our socials to our Patreon, patreon.com/themultiversereport. Feel free to check us out there. And I think that's, oh, you know what? If you really want to, you should leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts with a
Please do.
recipe.
We'll eat it.
We
No
will eat
recipes
it.
yet. We'll
Still-
make it. We'll eat it.
Still no recipes. So if you're one of those people that tried to submit one last time, you know, if you've already
Try
left
again.
a review, like I know one of those 2 people did,
Try harder.
either, you know, find your well, in your specific case, find your spouse's thing and put the review in. So we'll eat whatever you throw out there.
That's right. That's right. And with that, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time in the multiverse.